He wakes up in a fountain right in front of the Magic Academy. Before he can even figure out how he got there, a group of bullies catches his attention. They laugh, admiring how well he serves as a punching bag. He tries to ask who they are, but that only annoys their leader. The guy grabs Leon by the hair and drags him deeper into the fountain. That's when Leon understands what's going on. He uses his water magic and blasts the bullies away. The main bully can't understand how this loser suddenly became so strong. When Leon steps out of the fountain, his presence alone terrifies them, and they run away in fear. Well, it couldn't be any other way. After all, the strongest archmage in history just ended up in a student's body. Leon Klein was a hero of his era, the man who defeated the Demon King Belfar and brought peace to the kingdom of unknown origin. Leon was celebrated by the entire realm for his heroics on that fateful day. Now you would think that the time for his retirement had arrived. Time for him to marry a beautiful woman like Princess Sarah and live a fulfilling life. However, fate had other plans. The king tasked him with one last mission, a final assignment that would mark the end of his journey as a hero. Reportedly, there was a cave harboring monsters, the last remnants of the Demon King's army. The king wanted him to investigate the cavern and return with positive results. After all, everyone who had entered that cave up until now had returned defeated. Naturally, the king had high hopes for the Demon Kingslayer to secure a victory. Leon knew what he had to do. He couldn't stand seeing the people he held dear under threat. He had to eradicate the last remnants of the Demon King for the sake of the children, the very orphans who looked up to him as a role model. So our boy picked up the gig without suspecting a thing, and a prince known as Shark was tasked with guiding him. The day of his departure finally arrived, and Prince Shark eventually led our hero into the corrupt cave. Once they were deep inside, Prince Shark revealed his true intentions by piercing the hero from the back. The weapon was laced with lethal poison, making Leon's death inevitable. You see, Prince Shark had always perceived Leon as a threat to his authority and absolute power. Not to mention, he thought Leon was stealing his girl, Queen Sarah. However, our boy made his intentions clear. He wasn't trying to score any chicks, nor did he care about political power. He was merely driven by the sheer love he harbored for the people around him, especially the orphan kids who looked up to him. As it turns out, this slimy scumbag had already claimed the lives of those kids, making sure no one remained alive to carry out Leon's will. This bastard was literally such a lowly piece of trash that calling him a devil would be an insult to the devil. He eventually kicked our boy down into the cavern's throat, leaving him there to die a slow death from the poison. However, our boy managed to survive the fall, finding himself in the Earth's maw. Not long after, an enigmatic skeleton creature popped out of nowhere, ready to attack him. Leon utilized his magic powers and obliterated the monster with a fireball. To his surprise, a system interface appeared and counted his kill. With one enemy down, he still had almost 1,000,000 to slaughter. Only then would he be able to finish the secret quest his fall had triggered. Another creature lunged at him, meeting the same fate, and his kill count rose by 1 again. Leon failed to understand his situation, but he continued to massacre monsters left and right, hoping he would find the exit one day. Years passed. The only thing that helped him brave that perilous trial was his burning desire for revenge against the bastard who betrayed him. By the time he reached 100,000 kills, he acquired Dark Attribute Magic, a type of power our boy had no prior knowledge of. He repeated this cycle in that grueling hell of swarming monsters for 10 straight years. Finally, upon hitting 1,000,000 kills, he fulfilled the quest's requirements, and an arcane door opened right before his eyes. Leon walked through the gate without thinking twice. His situation couldn't get any worse than it already was. Surprisingly enough, he found himself smack dab in the middle of a pond. When he gathered himself, he realized he was staring at an educational institute. The story hadn't even properly started before a few institute bullies showed up to pick on an easy target. They addressed our boy as Kuraban, a name that felt strangely unfamiliar to our young lad. Since he didn't even know who these punks were, our boy inquired about it naturally. Of course, the leader of the goons got pissed. He grabbed the hero by the head and dipped him into the water, trying to make sure he stopped acting dumb and recalled everything. On the other hand, Leon had no clue what the hell was going on. He used one of his magic spells, Armor Flood, and blew those suckers away like trash bags. The goons failed to understand how a wimp just pulled off such a Chad move. These guys made a wise decision and hightailed it out of there before they got their asses whooped any further. Just as our boy was trying to gather his thoughts, he heard a strange sound. An arcane voice was absolutely amazed by how our boy just blew those losers out of the water, even though his magic was currently suppressed. The uncanny voice led Leon somewhere private, finally materializing into a little girl. The girl immediately jumped to hug him out of the blue, leaving him confused with a lot of swirling questions he wanted this little doll to answer. She began by introducing herself as Luna, the goddess's messenger. Long story short, she was a guide for the dead. Leon had actually passed away the moment he was pushed into the cavern's throat. The world he was currently living in was an entirely different reality from the one he once knew. As for the body he possessed, it belonged to a boy named Kuraban, a native resident of this world. Leon took a moment to digest it all, eventually questioning the reason behind his transfer to this world. It seems our boy is going to get all his daunting questions answered, because a massive gate materializes before them. By crossing it, he will find the truth. On the other side of the gate lies a barren land, and right in front of them stands a familiar monster known as Grandsaurus, a creature who once served the demon lord Belfar. Seeing this creature causes our boy to shudder a little. This isn't your average Joe. Back then, it literally took him 3 days to defeat this monster. However, Luna assures him that using his new magic powers will make defeating this creature a walk in the park. Speaking of which, Leon remembers the dark attribute magic he was granted while grinding his ass off to finish that secret quest. The beast lunges at its target with no mercy. Our boy doesn't hesitate before tapping into the darkness. His swirling dark magic helps him shatter the magic barrier the monster surrounds itself with, and then he conjures up deadly dark claws to nip that bastard by the neck. Just that one technique is enough to snuff out the mighty creature's life. Luna breaks into a happy dance seeing our boy one-shot that massive beast. Even Leon himself is boggled after witnessing the hidden potential he possesses. This only makes him even more curious about his situation, and he demands this lowly spill the beans without further ado. A while passes, and it looks like our boy has finally learned the ropes. Turns out, the Demon King Belfar will be paying a visit to this world too. The gate from earlier was formed due to the Demon King's influence on this realm. If they leave that gate unchecked, the world might plunge into destruction with the appearance of the monsters. This is why the goddess specifically handpicked him, to keep a check and balance in this world. As he ponders his situation further, he notices a familiar crest marked on a fluttering flag. It doesn't take our boy long to figure out where he saw this crest last time. It belongs to the same bastard who pushed him to his death. If this crest is here, it means that Shark has crossed into this world as well. The burning desire for revenge causes his clenched fists to shake uncontrollably, so much so that even Luna notices it. But she can't dwell on it any further and vanishes into thin air, fearing exposure. Someone is coming, and that someone is a female student who wishes to talk to our boy. She sensed a gate appearing right around the area and wants to inquire about it. Before Leon can respond, Luna telepathically insists he conceal the information she seeks and act obtuse. The boy does as he is told, leaving the girl questioning whether what she sensed was actually a false alarm. She then turns her attention toward our boy, recognizing him as the same student involved with the goons earlier. For all the inconvenience he had to bear due to those delinquents, she sincerely apologizes. However, our boy assures her to straighten up, since it isn't something she should be apologizing for. For one thing, this girl is very upright and well-mannered. Anyhow, the girl decides to be on her way since what she sensed appears to be a total false alarm. Once she is gone, Luna pops right back up, glazing over that charming lady who has the exceptional senses to sniff out the presence of a gate. Luna believes that this girl is a potential candidate for a love interest, just like in any typical school novel. Night descends, and our boy finally makes his way to his dorm room, only to find curses and insults plastered all across his door. The student body responsible for this heinous yet low-level crime is already standing around the corridor, snickering like a bunch of cowardly hyenas. Nonetheless, Leon prefers to avoid these people who are beneath him and proceeds to get into his room. Inside, Luna launches a full-blown tirade when he settles in, furious that those guys dared to write such low-level stuff. My guy isn't really bothered by it and prefers to discuss more urgent matters. He wants to learn a little about this institute. That crest he noticed on the flag is the same one Prince Shark wore. Perhaps Shark also crossed into this world along with the Demon King. Sadly enough, Luna doesn't have the details he wants. She is just as clueless about this world. Although she has been peeking into this reality to guide our boy, she hasn't noticed the prince at all. This leaves our boy no choice but to investigate and explore the secrets of this world himself. With the shining sun marking the beginning of the next day, our boy gets ready for his first day at the academy. After tidying up his hair and donning his uniform, he walks through the crowd of students, making his way toward his department. He is attracting way too much attention, with all eyes glued in his direction. After all, my guy's attitude and the aura he exudes totally command the room, and he deserves every bit of it. In the few classes he takes, he learns a few fundamental things about this world. A few years ago, mysterious spaces called gates started appearing all around the globe. Simultaneously, people who could use magic also emerged. In order to combat this situation, people who possessed innate magical talent started raiding these gates, farming valuable items and minerals along the way. These raiders were dubbed Seekers. With the increasing number of magic users wanting to become Seekers, the need for institutes to nurture these talents arose. Thus, this sacred Imperial Academy came into existence. It is a safe haven for those who aspire to become Seekers. Do you recall that girl who came after our boy looking for a gate? Yup, that girl is this academy's student council president. Her name is Izumiya Makoto. She is currently impressing everyone out on the school fields with her exceptional magic talent, and our boy watches her from the class window. After class, as he walks through the corridor, he comes across the same thugs he dealt with yesterday. By the way, our boy's name in this world is Kuraban-kun. The one with the ugliest face, who is also the leader of these goons, steps forward, wanting our boy to run an errand for them. But my guy, being the Chad he is, gets on the bastard's nerves with a sharp yet simple jab. The thug loses his patience, especially since he already wants to relieve the pent-up frustration caused by yesterday's humiliation. As fate would have it, Izumiya arrives at that perfect moment, witnessing this unfair bastard about to unleash a lethal magic spell at his victim. She yells a warning at the thug to freeze, but her warning comes all too late. The bastard ends up unleashing his spell. Our boy doesn't sit around idly either. He taps into his dark attribute magic and gobbles up that piece of stone the bastard conjures. Literally, that giant boulder vanishes into thin air, leaving the bastard's jaw hitting the floor. My guy doesn't stop aura farming there. He just walks past this chump without a care in the world, ignoring the council president as well. After classes, Kuraban returns to his dormitory, only to find a threat note from that same scumbag, demanding our boy meet him in the training grounds. Luna suggests he simply overlook this idiot. Kuraban, however, is willing to give this guy what he is asking for. This will also act as a step toward diminishing the hindrances in his path. Hearing this, Luna gets fired up, ready to deal with the menace. During the night, our boy finally meets those thugs in the training ground, just as they expected. The leader puts his goons on standby since he wants a one-on-one fair duel. He wants to teach the lesson he thinks our boy deserves. Similarly, Kuraban wants his opponent to never mess with him again if he wins the duel. As expected, the bastard cracks up in his signature anime laughter, thinking he is the one calling the shots. My guy, on the other hand, stays unhinged and challenges this clown to charge forward without wasting precious time. Kuraban's bravado gets on the bastard's nerves. Instead of the one-on-one duel he asked for, the bastard doesn't even bother to honor his own words and calls forth his goons to attack. The unsuspecting goons charge right into their demise without thinking twice. The scummy, slimy leader feels really proud of himself after lying about the fair fight. But my guy remains unbothered. For all he cares, even if 100 of these bastards came at him at once, it wouldn't be a problem. With a mere flick of his hand, he conjures up dark attribute magic, using a technique called Denial Mirror. This allows our boy to turn their attacks back against them. That single spell is enough to knock these bastards out of the competition. The gang leader is left with his jaw suspended in the air. He knows he has royally screwed up by pissing off our boy, and my guy isn't thinking of forgiving the bastards who dare to launch a sneak attack behind his back. The leader has no clue what kind of mess he has gotten himself into. You see, in this world, magic is categorized into 4 attributes: wind, water, fire, and earth. The kind of magic our boy wields doesn't fall into any of those categories. The bully is having a mental breakdown over how the once useless Kuraban is wielding such unheard-of magic. The bastard realizes too late that he has only screwed himself further by calling Kurabani useless in that critical moment. Our boy is absolutely livid, and he isn't going to let a scumbag walk the face of the earth until he changes his shitty attitude. The goon thinks his pesky fire magic can save him, but he is proven wrong soon enough when my guy knocks him out cold with the help of his dark arts. Kuraban doesn't just put this guy to sleep. He makes sure to suck up all the mana this bastard possesses, a one-of-a-kind ability only a dark attribute magic wielder possesses. Kuraban hopes this will be enough of a lesson for the guy to realize he mustn't bite off more than he can chew. Suddenly, the entire place falls into chaos, with urgent sirens blaring to evacuate the area. A gate has appeared within the academy grounds, and the students are told to flee since the threat level is category red, supposedly the highest danger level. Within the dormitory building, students are in utter chaos, scrambling to evacuate, while the council president is there to make sure no student is left behind. A senior is also there to help, urging Izumiya to leave the place as per the headmaster's orders. She too is prohibited from engaging a red category threat. If anyone becomes a casualty in an attempt to battle the gate, the academy will have to bear the responsibility. However, the girl has her own reasons to step in. Not long ago, when a category red gate appeared, the neighboring residents suffered huge damages, and she refuses to let history repeat itself. Not to mention, the only reason this academy exists is to nurture talent that can combat these gates. That's precisely why she intends to take on that gate herself. Meanwhile, monsters have started to pour out of the gate already, with students running away, scared shitless. One even tries to use his earth magic to scare off a following beast, but the creature chews the stone with its jaws and lunges at the student. Luckily, the goddess of the school arrives and takes down multiple beasts at once, saving that student from getting a nibble taken out of his ass. She instructs the student to seek the assistance of his fellow students and evacuate far away. The girl is worried that if this gate isn't stopped immediately, the the beast could make their way into the city, causing unnecessary destruction and panic. With no choice, she is ready to challenge the gate boss herself. Meanwhile, our boy and his lolly, Luna, are watching the goddess take on the challenge and enter the gate. Before proceeding, the boy wants to know how they can close the gate. Luna's response is fairly predictable. All they have to do is defeat the monster that controls the gate, which you can also call the boss. With that in mind, they decide to head right into it without wasting any breath. However, Luna is hesitant about the idea. The dark magic our boy possesses might pack a punch, but not without consuming copious amounts of mana. But my guy isn't willing to sit back and watch the city succumb to destruction. He has to act and neutralize the threat with the best of his abilities. Luna feels proud of the kind of person our boy is. Without hesitating further, they make their move, heading straight for the boss monster. Meanwhile, inside the gate, the student council president has already taken down a bunch of low-level mob beasts. That alone is enough to exhaust her strength and mana. She is learning the hard way that a red gate category isn't something she should have messed with. Things only get worse for her when a massive serpent-like dragon appears right behind her, ready to devour her. But luckily, Kuraban manages to make it there on time. He punishes the bastard with his dark attribute for attempting to harm the goddess of the campus. As the monster falls, her eyes linger through the haze, locking onto her savior. Izumiya is starstruck watching her academy mate arrive and decimate the creature in one blow. She thanks him for his help, while Luna is just happy that they saved her in time. Kuraban is glad that Izumiya is in one piece. And yes, the One Piece is real. The part that's bothering her the most is the kind of magic he used just now, causing her to even wonder what kind of guy he really is. Instead of focusing on that, our nonchalant king emphasizes that they should first close the gate, reminding her that she came here for that mission in the first place. Izumiya suddenly remembers her real goal and agrees with the idea of finishing things up first. Though, in the back of her head, she just can't seem to pass off Kurobani Ren as an ordinary student. That's because this dude placed dead last during the mock battles conducted at the academy, which means bro had the shittiest grades imaginable. But all of a sudden, he's out here moving like Prime Mike Tyson, especially when he uses that strange magic type. Anyway, they get their feet moving to clear the gate and look for the boss monster. On the way, they're confronted by a bunch of monsters, to which Izumiya activates her aqua prison spell, caging most of them in a vortex of blue, spiraling them in a floating water sphere. Even Luna admits that this student president is impressively strong for her caliber, which is something that our boy likes as Izumiya is fitting for the top evaluated candidate of the Imperial Academy. Suddenly the ground erupts before them, as a titanic golem with a sculpted physique tries to smash them. Our boy dodges the golem's smashing attempt. Retaliating with dark attribute magic, Kurabani casts Blind Edge this time, a powerful beam strike that obliterates the golem in a single blast. Izumiya is left astonished watching the monster crumble away to pieces, realizing that this man is out here moving like a legend. It's not even the fact that he's deploying a unique kind of magic, but rather how effectively he's using each spell alongside perfect casting speed. It's almost as if she was watching an experienced mage, someone who had spent decades on the battlefield before this mediocre fight. Anyway, the duo goes up to confront the boss lair. Kurabani tells the student president to get ready, as both of them step into the room of the Gatemaster. This red noodle is a sick-ass dragon with an amazing design. The beast is formally called a lava dragon, and it's no ordinary threat. Izumiya dubs it an extremely powerful monster documented in their books. And even our boy tells her to be careful, because the creature will rampage with both its fire and tail attacks at long range. The rampage is about to begin when the beast prepares a fire blast using its magic, before erupting a hyper beam like the Pokemon Rayquaza from that one scene in his fight against Deoxys. The tail follows soon after, as Izumiya is caught off guard and barely manages to avoid being crushed under its weight. It's all thanks to Kurabane's warnings that she managed to prepare for the dodge. Retaliating properly, the student president unleashes a huge icicle lance, only for this dragon to shatter it without even enduring a single scratch. This comes as a sheer shock to her system, because icicle lance is literally supposed to be ultra effective against fire attribute creatures, but this lava dragon's sheer heat melted it before it even reached him. The fight's not finished, and Kurabane's ready to kick things up a notch. He lets loose with the spell Deadly Claw, summoning claws of dark magic from the ground to hit the dragon from every direction. At this moment, the lava dragon chooses to use its wings and quickly escape the encounter instead of getting impaled. Luna thinks that this coward monster is cheating, but it's a valid strategy when the monster literally has wings to fly with. Izumiya wasn't expecting things to swing in this direction and asked for directions on their next strategy, prompting our boy to request her to use magic other than her ice ability. The student president assures him that she has access to other forms of magic, which is perfect, because Kuraban instructs her to slow down the creature using such types of magic. Izumiya understands her role here and trusts our boy's plan to work out. Following this, she immediately taps into wind magic, casting a storm of green before releasing a proper aerial blast. This attack is extremely effective against the flying-type Pokemon, monster. The lava dragon faces difficulty resisting the pull of the wind, forcing it to stop in one place. Luna signals our boy to act with the only opportunity he's got, so Kuraban taps into his special dark magic once more. Void butterflies encircle him as he sends them towards the boss monster, using an ability called the Abyss Ruler. The butterflies surround the creature, until Kuraban goes snap with his fingers, acting like he's Hero X from the anime. The same butterflies are actually detonation traps. Think of them as mini remote grenades, and all of them light up to explode at the same time. This chain reaction is so damn devastating that it annihilates the beast with full-blown impact. Kuraban aura farms watching the creature get Hiroshimaed in the face. By the end of it all, the lava dragon rots on the ground, wings tattered, skin burned, and defeated. Luna congratulates her master for her commendable achievement of beating the gate ruler. Even Izumiya is stunned, and though she's got a crap ton of questions lined up for him paparazzi style, for now she's just happy to celebrate the conclusion of the epic battle they took part in. Kuraban thinks the same, and the two end up closing the red gate, making it back safely. The creatures outside had already been taken out by the student president, which means there wasn't any real harm caused. Suddenly, the student president is called out by someone who is supremely infuriated by her disobedience. This is the headmaster of the Sacred Imperial Academy, Shidu Atsushi, and he wants answers for why she rebelled against his order and ventured inside the gate. Our boy immediately hits up his local Google search, also known as Luna, to ask about this random dude. Shidu Atsushi is a flaunting headmaster of the academy, with an institution that collects and hones mages, and because of it, he's acquired Andrew Tate levels of wealth. This gets our boy into thinking mode, because if this dude is genuinely the headmaster of the academy, then he must share at least some sort of connection to Prince Shark. At the same time, it's far too early for an assumption for now. Izumiya confronts the headmaster with an immediate apology, highlighting how she couldn't just watch people be threatened by the danger. But the stubborn headmaster cuts her off, condescending her for acting mighty just because she felt exercising her sense of justice. He hits her with the big old what-if question, asking what would have happened if the situation went south. Coming to her rescue, our boy humbly argues that the headmaster could at least use some words of encouragement for the student president's valiant actions. Shidu demands to know who this new kid is, reminding him that he's got no place to interfere in their conversation. But the student president defends our boy back, emphasizing that this same outsider is the reason she managed to close the highest difficulty gate. This sparks great interest in Shidu's eyes, before he erupts in laughter, humiliating the kid the second he remembers how Kuraban Ren is the lowest-ranked buffoon of his academy. Refusing to believe the ridiculousness of the situation, he turns around to leave, only for Izumiya to plead for his attention. This time, Shidu mouths that the shittiest student at the academy couldn't have managed to close the highest difficulty category gate, so he just treats the whole thing like a ridiculous bluff created by his students. Saying those words, he races off in his escort, leaving our boy in a state of contemplation. Kuraban now understands that even if Shark isn't associated with this guy, he needs to investigate the headmaster's identity deeper. Back at the dorms, this man finally breathes an air of relaxation coming home. Luna is already ranting about the headmaster's prideful behavior, but it's just another giveaway of how crappy the life Kuraban Ren must have led at this school. The messenger of the goddess is actually impressed with Izumiya in comparison, and suddenly catches our boy reading up on something. Kuraban is actually checking notes from Kuraban's diary for any context clues he could find about the headmaster. It's an invasion of privacy, but it's something that has to be done. The day when our boy Leon invaded Kuraban's body, he already realized that this kid had found himself at the edge of life, as if he had given up on living. Let's start reading the journal. The bullied boy was at his limits. He had aspired to become a seeker, just to string together money for his baby sister's medical fees. But unfortunately, he despaired at the realization that he had zero talent for magic. This one weakness became his life's legacy, as people treated him like dog shit, left him notes, terrorizing him during class, and after class, knocked him out harder than Anthony Joshua did with Jake Paul. Each day became a literal hell, and the boy couldn't escape the cycle of torture. The boy's final words were how frustrating his life became. He even wept in his final piece of writing, his tears etched in the note. Reading all of this, Luna realizes that Kuraban is truly shaken. He stares at the moon, declaring that he's gotta serve justice for life that this poor boy endured. In his office, Shidu is currently reading up our boy's file, finding it easy to dogpile him based on his report card for having the lowest evaluation. The headmaster thinks it's really impressive that this failure doesn't see how he could easily get expelled from the academy. In the next scene, we get a Snow Bunny's shower sequence. She's pondering about our boy, how Kuraban is supposed to be the lowest ranked student. Nothing seems right, especially the recent changes, and she's about as certain about her assumption as she is about the roundness of her badonkadonks. Come the next day, our boy is requested to share a private conversation from the vice president, Naruse Shuya. This nerd takes them for a one-on-one talk, recalling what happened yesterday with the president and Izumiya. The vice president questions our boy's intentions, wanting to know if the student was interested in acquiring as much loot as possible inside the gate. He knows by Izumiya's account that he helped her, but he also thinks that's just a cover she made up to defend him. Naruse berates him for trying to play the hero and creating issues for the student president. Even Luna is pissed off with Four Eyes over here speaking like he graduated from the University of Yapology. Anyway, Kuraban clarifies that he helped block the gate. Naruse snickers, reminding the kid that he never even won a single mock battle during school tests. He can clearly see that these are just a bunch of lies, refusing to believe in a single word. At this time Izumiya came up. She was actually looking for our boy for a talk. Now that she's here, Naruse closes up the discussion, ordering them to let the student council handle things next time. As for Izumiya, he instructs her to come meet him the same afternoon for a discussion. Watching him leave, Izumiya inquires if Four Eyes said mean things to our boy again. But Kuraban is chill with it, not giving a single flying fuck about this guy and simply asking why she came looking for him. Turns out, the headmaster of the academy wants to speak with him now. Kuraban goes straight into Shidu's office where he's trying to pose without even glancing at them. Right away, the headmaster orders Kurobani to drop out of the academy as per his order. This is a frantic and sudden command, causing Izumiya to jump in shock and ask for a reason. Shidu proclaims that it's simple. The boy has the lowest magic scores and hasn't won a single battle ever since his arrival. This means he's got no talent, and the mages with no talent aren't meant to be here at the academy, so this is an easy way out for him. Picking up the report card, our boy calmly suggests that all he has to do is prove his strength. He knows that there are mock battles piled up for the incoming month, and places the condition that he'll win every single one of them in exchange for the headmaster's cooperation. It's an insulting offer to Shidu, who finds it ridiculous. But then, he reads up the schedule and finds Naruse's fight against Kurobani happening because of this. This pairing would basically be an immediate death sentence because Naruse is the second top talent behind Izumiya. The headmaster agrees to this offer, much to our boy's satisfaction. Kuraban is so happy to wipe the smug arrogance off this man's face. Back at the dorms that same night, our boy is busy reviewing the schedule with Luna. As he was leaving the admin office, the student president stopped him, begging him to take back his words. His position was never in jeopardy to begin with, because the academy never expels anyone for having a poor grade. It's just that the headmaster has a personal hate boner against this guy. The problem with losing mock battles is that he'll inevitably suffer being expelled now. Despite knowing about his skills, she thinks it's far too dangerous a challenge for him to take on Naruse. At that point, Kurobani just looked at her and thanked her for worrying, but really, he doesn't feel bothered about the condition at all. Plus, he's made his decision already, with the goal of proving all his haters wrong. Pondering those words now, Luna thinks that it's perfectly fine if Kurobani basically stopped attending the academy. But our boy believes that it's better for him to remain in the academy to personally monitor Prince Shark's activities. After all, he strongly suspects a connection between the headmaster and the prince. He even brings up a personal wild theory that Prince Shark is spiritually possessing the headmaster's body. However, Luna shut that theory instantly, revealing that she has the ability to sense beings from the other world, so she'd be able to tell if it was the case. With that option closed, Kuraban's current strategy is to keep closing incoming gates, and at the same time chasing his two targets, the Demon King Belfar and Prince Shark. Strangely, the tiny messenger pouts at his words, causing him to ask what's wrong. She was just thinking about how heavy a burden the great wizard Kurobani has to deal with, even if it's an order from the goddess. Despite the burden, Kurobani actually feels grateful for this opportunity. He'd already died in that void dimension, so this is the perfect chance for him to get back at Shark, the one who caused his demise, and even Belfar, the Demon King who threatens the safety of this world. In the end, he's happy with the orders of the goddess, so Kuraban assures the little messenger that she doesn't have to feel any sadness at all. His reassuring words light up her face, making her feel genuinely happy that a man as amazing as him was chosen for the duty. With their conversation concluded, Kurobani wants to get some rest for the mock battles ahead. The little girl shouts in excitement, declaring an amazing sweep from him to show everyone who's boss. Deep down, she's also desperately hoping that all of Kuraban's wishes become true. The next day arrives, and we find the contestants at the battlegrounds. Bro's first opponent is another clown who's just happy to take on the worst student in the academy. The audience from the stands are all rooting for the other guy, feeling sorry for Kuraban, but our boy ignores all that chatter as the fight between two mages commences. Kuraban's opponent starts off with a daring wind strike, tossing a beam of green to defeat his opponent. The moment that attack connects, our boy disappears, as if he evaporated upon impact. This makes this clown think that he's so powerful, his opponent couldn't even withstand one blow. But then Kuraban gives this guy a reality check by popping up right behind him like a ghost. Having prepared an earth spell, Kuraban clobbers stones against his opponent's body using a rock blast. By the end of that spell, Bro's wasted in the Yamcha pose, pinning our boy as the victor of the first match. This overwhelming victory stuns the spectators. All of them are gossiping about the Academy's worst student beating someone far better than him. Izumiya looks like a proud girlfriend, while Naruse looks like a pissed hater. Luna points out how this man doesn't even need to use dark attribute magic to take out these amateurs. That's the great thing about the wizard of the other dimension. She's thrilled to watch him run a city-wide fade against these weaklings. The slaughter continues with Kurobani destroying one guy after another using the same spells, some even straight up surrendering against him. His spree of victories are shocking enough to give the headmaster a heart attack. Bro can't fathom how the dumbest kid at the academy is now on a winning streak. For a second, he genuinely starts thinking if this kid actually closed the red gate, before gaslighting himself again into believing otherwise. Naruse knocks at his door and sees the headmaster, who requested a personal meeting with him. Shidu explains that Naruse is obviously going to be fighting the underdog here in the mock battles. But during this fight, Shidu orders the vice student president to use his absolute top strength, reminding him not to become careless for even a second. Interestingly, Naruse already has plans for his opponent. In all of Kuraban's battles that he observed, he could only see earth magic be used. Even with that level of skill, Naruse argues that he's far superior to him in terms of skill, which pleases the headmaster greatly. Bro's so happy to hear actual confirmation, concluding their discussion. On his way out, Naruse puddles up in his thoughts, knowing how the headmaster is being cautious, as if there was something genuinely worrisome about his upcoming opponent. Regardless, this dude's got too much ego and believes there's no way he's gonna lose this fight. We lean into another victory for our boy. By this point, everyone's glazing him, the very definition of turning your haters into your fans. People are wondering what the hell happened to him, while Kurobani understands that he's doing well. Izumiya gives him some water and reminds him that he simply requires a final push before attaining total freedom. Meanwhile, Four Eyes lingers by overhearing their discussion. At last, the announcer finally gets to the main dish of the event, the mock battle between Kuraban and the Vice President Naruse. Both fighters step up to glare each other down, and the shit talk begins with Naruse advising his opponent not to get cocky after his recent victories. Our boy manhandles this virgin by playing it cool, expressing that he's only interested in winning. Naruse thinks he's on that Aizen energy and can't lose because he's seen everything, but our boy foretells the future of his victory set in stone. Four Eyes commends his courage, vowing to make his opponent regret such a decision. The scene is tense and everyone's eyes are glued in as the final fight begins. Four Eyes' confidence is actually creating holes in his thoughts, because the idea of a bottom ranker wiping the floor with other students is mind-boggling to him. He's starting to wonder if Kuraban intentionally planned all of this from the beginning, to collect a winning streak by hiding his real powers. Whatever 4,000 IQ strategy his opponent cooked, Naruse is hell-bent on destroying it. He starts off with the activation of high-ranking wind magic, casting a bow and arrow for a lighting shot spell. Upon the release of his bow, he storms 3 thunderous arrows blitzing towards Kurobane's direction. Responding appropriately, our boy plants his hand to the ground, summoning a giant clay wall for the perfect defense. The sheer size of that thing astonishes his opponent, as even his high-ranking spell just simply bounced right back from the wall, causing no damage. The wall melts, and so does Naruse's confidence, who can't even fathom how he couldn't land that hit even when he cast it earlier. The audience is in shambles, now stunned that Kurobane is capable of countering the vice president. The embarrassed Naruse tries to regain his composure, reminding himself that his opponent can't use anything aside from earth magic. With that in mind, he throws up his hand for an activation of earth magic of his own. Naruse casts giant stones levitating just over his opponent, before raining them down in a meteor shower, or in this case, a rock shower. Kurobane watches, prepping himself to counteract with wind magic. He locks it in, annihilating the rocky storm with aerial blast. This counterattack is another perfect response to Naruse's attempt, and a huge shock to him. Four Eyes is terrified to realize our boy can even use wind magic, while the audience is ecstatic, cheering for the underdog's performance against the vice president. Some of them start to question how this kid has access to multiple attributes, and the reason is simple. Izumiya internalizes that multiple attribute casting wizards are rare, because it takes a long while for someone to even hone one kind of magic attribute. Even if they successfully do that, proficiency with one is usually less than the other, but Kurobani is a goddamn machine. Bro is literally out here perfectly casting dual elements. Naruse blurts out his frustration. He didn't calculate our boy's usage of another element. Kurobane's fed up and directly asks why this scumbag likes looking down on people, a response that appears incomprehensible to Naruse. Our boy goes off, highlighting how the vice president assumes things quickly, has a shit ton of arrogance, and even recklessness. The only thing good about this guy is his magical prowess, but his personality is worse than that of a wet tissue paper. This humble reality check stuns the vice president, who takes it the opposite way and thinks that our boy is intentionally trash-talking him. He goes off on this speech on how he only acknowledges the strong, and the only person that fits that category is Izumiya herself. He's tried his best to become worthy of standing shoulder to shoulder with her. That's why he's got such arrogance to assume that the weakest student isn't a match for him. Fueled with anger, Naruse casts a special water spell, another high-rank attribute magic. The audience knows that this attribute is supposed to be Four Eyes' best one to date. Declaring it the end of the road for his opponent, Naruse shoots off the water spell, successfully entrapping Kurabane's leg in place. Then, a violent blue storm envelops his body. This mighty spell is called Cositus, Naruse's final trump card. It's so powerful that not even wind magic is enough to tackle it. Earth magic is the same. The vice president assumes his victory, especially as he watches Kuraban sealed in ice, as if he was Aang from Avatar. The difference is, the Fire Nation attacked from within his body, baffling Four Eyes once again. The icicle cage starts cracking, and so do all chances of Naruse's victory for this fight. The ice is crushed with the searing flames of Kuraban, a revelation of a third attribute from the weakest student. But that's not all. Kurabane goes on to make a point that he can cast more types. For example, he gathers enough ice to form a gigantic boulder. Then, he crushes it with his might, scattering the fragments all across the arena. Those fragments strike the ground all around Naruse, a wide-ranged attack that deals him minimal damage as most of the fragments graze past him. By the end of that ice storm, the vice president is on his knees like a good boy, having no defense against it. Kuraban towers over his victim, before leaving the clown with a single piece of advice for his future goals. He tells Naruse that the only way for him to achieve his goals of acquiring strength is if he looked further ahead instead of looking behind. But even if he did that, he wouldn't be able to reach beyond his limits. Basically, my man pulled the politest curb stomp trash talk ever. In the end, Naruse asks the same question as everyone else. Just who is this man? He tries to bolt towards Kuraban, who doesn't even bother to look at him as he collapses down. Fight's over. Kurabane Ren is officially dubbed as the victor. That same night, we get a juicy reaction from the headmaster, who's royally pissed off, unable to conceive how the weakest student ended up wielding 4 attributes out of his ass. Izumiya's words flash in his memory, and yet he denies the truth even after convincing evidence. Taking matters into his own hands, he curses our boy, literally beefing with a child by the way, and hits up a number to forcefully expel him. It's nighttime, and while Luna is out here snoozing, our boy is chalking up his thoughts after the fight he won. Thanks to this, he managed to get the headmaster to revoke his expulsion, which begs the question, how should he strategize from here on out? He's got a bunch of notes already scribbled down, his main 2 threats and the academy's connection with it all. Though he wants to personally ask the headmaster about some things, it turns out the guy's gone on a personal business trip. This means his top priority at the moment are the problematic gates. If he can only block them, then he can safely connect the dots behind the ones connected to Demon King Belfar. The great mage wonders who his first target will be as the scene transitions to the following morning in his classroom. A certain figure enters class, stealing our boy's attention immediately. The teacher writes his name on the board, declaring himself the newly assigned teacher of the class. Hashiba understands that it's sudden news, but hopes the students will take great care of him. The girls are already simping for this guy, while our boy shares a look of suspicion, knowing something's up. During cafeteria break, the students discuss the epic mock battles. All of them are busy talking about Kuraban's exceptional performance, especially the way he dominated the academy's second-best asset. Some of them are even beginning to wonder if that guy will be able to teach them magic. Izumiya comes around to sit across from our boy, and praises him for his exceptional performance at the mock battles. Kuraban accepts the warm compliment, while she glazes him further, and thanks him even more for fixing Naruse's behavior. Even though Four Eyes felt disgusted being patronized like that, he did end up agreeing with his opponent's words. Even then, Izumiya refuses to let the situation regarding the headmaster go free, especially the way he handled the expulsion matter. This makes Kuraban curious enough to ask about Shidu's personality, questioning if he was always like this. Apparently, Shidu was a former seeker, so he was a good mage. But lately, people have started speculating about him possessing some nasty connections around him. That tracks with Kurabane's assumption. But suddenly, news erupts to inform an influx of gates on the rise. These gates have been popping everywhere, but also being shut down by competent heroes. Even then, people are told to remain on guard and urged to not approach the surrounding gates, especially if they're ordinary citizens without magic. This reminds Kuraban of Luna's words. She told him that any gate that was left unattended for too long would end up unleashing monsters that would ravage the whole world. Of course, not on this man's watch, as he was going to ensure that a dark future never came to be. The Great Mage shares his personal request for Izumiya, and whatever he talks about is left unexplained as the scene cuts to the dead of the night. Kuraban intends to patrol this region to check if a gate would appear nearby today, while Luna shares how he's been clearing all the gates that popped the moment they appeared. She finds it really cool that he's the secret superhero wiping out gates without anyone noticing. In the midst of their conversation, a green gate carves open. It's a category green level. Kuraban confidently strides his way inside, interested in scoping out the surrounding environment. It's just a bunch of trees, though it's very hard to see because of the fog, and Luna urges him to be careful with every step. A little while later, this man leaves corpses of monsters behind every step and enters the deepest part of the forest. Strangely, Luna points out that there's nothing around, but then, Kurabani senses a presence just behind her. The little marshmallow is grabbed by a creature and pulled away from her master. The moment she looks back is when she sees a demonic sleep paralysis demon ready to devour her in one piece. Luna screams, reminding the creature that she's not meant to be devoured and does her best to escape. Meanwhile, our boy instructs her just to stay still, proactively gesturing the use of dark attribute magic once more. Claws of purple erupt from the tree, jutting out in an effort to impale the gargoyle. The creature tries to escape, but a deadly claw ends up piercing him from every direction, turning the monster into a cheese slice. The hits are fatal, causing the monster to topple its way down to the ground. Luna dashes up to her master, thanking him for saving her life. She's crazily impressed with his fast magic deployment, fearing that she might have died there, but Kurabani explains that he actually ended up getting used to sudden ambushes in the depths of Hell region. That's why he's able to react swiftly without worry, further impressing the tiny floating marshmallow. The gate is cleared soon afterwards, as the mission for today is wrapped up. Kuraban's happy to have cleared this region of gates, and is about to head back, when suddenly, a bunch of earth spikes zoom towards him. He leaps away from their destination, avoiding each hit and focusing on the assailant who tried ambushing him just now. Kuraban locates this person looking down at him from atop a building. This guy is pretty damn impressed, and it's pretty obvious that this dude is actually Hashiba, his newest teacher, who just so happens to be part-time John Wick. Of course, our boy has absolutely no idea who this guy actually is, just that he's an imminent threat to be dealt with. Right away, Kurabani instructs Luna to hide, as they're facing a competent opponent here. She dashes off, while our boy demands to know about his identity and his intentions of attacking him. The assailant remains uninterested in answering any of those questions, and simply responds with a blazing fire spell instead. The attack is dodged by Kurabani immediately afterwards, earning Hashiba's praise. But he's not quite done as he swipes more violent flame strikes at him coming from every direction. Now our boy is surrounded, and he's got nowhere to run. Hashiba's confident in this one being a hit, but he forgot to consider one crucial factor. The ultimate wizard commands open darkness magic, using a spell called the Grim Eater, which carves an open space, swallowing up all of the flames into a different dimension. Kuraban effortlessly got rid of the attack, stunning the assassin, who had never seen this kind of magic used before in his life. Refusing to let him get away, Kuraban commands the use of Deadly Claw as his second spell of dark attribute magic. Spikes erupt near him and demolish the very building he was standing on, but luckily Hashiba managed to escape without receiving fatal injuries. He's inflicted with a sharp gash on his arm, reflecting on how his opponent has access to a strange kind of magic. But instead of focusing on that, his current objective is to prioritize running away, because the predator has quickly become the prey. In a flash of smoke, the assassin successfully exits the scene, much to Kuraban's disappointment. The little marshmallow pops out of her safe space and learns about the situation. In the next scene, both of them arrive back at the dorms, discussing the identity of the attacker. Our boy has no clue for now, but he was able to safely memorize the movements of the assassin. Kuraban's gut feeling is screaming at him that the assassin is somehow related to the academy, and he vows to catch this guy for good next time, even intending to chalk up every last bit of information he could possibly find on him. The following day, we're brought back into the classroom. Here, Kuraban closes in and observes the instructor scribble down on the board. Shortly after class, Hashiba finds the student, expressing great interest in the student after learning about his ability to close the red gate all alone. Of course, Kuraban ridicules the headmaster for not believing in his accomplishment to this day. Playing the part of a trustee, Hashiba assures him that he trusts the boy's words, and that he was able to confirm it during his mock battles. Ominously, he bids the student good luck for his future performance. The two of them part, but this teacher's got that devious light Yagami manipulator smile, as if he got what he needed here. In the following sequence, Hashiba quietly notes down Kurabani's attempt at another gate. He's vengeful for what happened during their fight last time, and intends to make the boy suffer. It's only because he let his guard down the other day, But now, he won't be slipping up a second time, especially with a new device he's got on him. To this man's utter shock, Kuraban speedruns the gate as if it never even happened. He cleared it in the same moment Hashiba was contemplating his thoughts, and somehow bro thinks he's still gonna win. Using the device, he signals his men to move in. The rest of the assassins pop out of the shadows to jump one kid acting like he's the 20-finger version of Sukuna or something. All of them combine their spells to dish out an explosive finish, amounting to a great destruction. Watching the scene from the perfect spot, Hashiba laughs, calling the mission disappointing and turning around, convinced that he killed the kid. Right as he's signaling them to check the dead body, his own subordinates scream at him through the transmission. They're out there cowering in fear, terrifying Hashiba as to what could have happened. He refuses to believe that the boy outlasted the giant explosion like that. Even a cold-blooded assassin is losing his cool and tries to compose himself, reassuring that the kid doesn't know where he's hiding at least. And then our boy pops up like rent is due from behind, baffling the assassin another time. The good thing about Kuraban is that he's got a tiny partner who can easily search for him. That same partner is the purple orb hovering around to scan the area. It's Luna. Doesn't matter though, Kurabani's got this dude cornered and releases a ripple wave of wind. This causes Hashiba's mask to drop, exposing his identity out in the open. The assassin doesn't even know when the boy managed to figure it out. Remember when Kurabani was carefully eyeing down the way he wrote on the board? It's because he figured out Hashiba was using a different arm for writing just after the fight, thanks to the wound that was inflicted on him. Then he inquired further using Izumiya, and discovered that the instructor happened to be a former seeker. That checked out with the flame spells the assassin used the other day, confirming his identity as all dots traced back to one person, Hashiba Keisuke. Taunting him, Kuraban questions if this man has recovered his lost resolve. He intends to make this guy talk for all the reasons he bothered attempting to assassinate a student. Hearing this, the maniacal assassin bursts out a laugh, praising the young boy for cornering him like that to the point of piecing together his identity. At the same time, he reminds the boy that he's merely a student, one who shouldn't act so cocky. Saying so, Bro carves up a literal supernova attack like he's on some Dragon Ball Z Frieza energy. The very surrounding is melting just because of the residual heat. Hashiba laughs, spelling the end of it all for the boy. This is his ultimate technique, the one he used to disintegrate thousands of powerful monsters, a trump card he doesn't use often. Declaring the end of his target, the assassin sends the fucking sun at his direction, while Kuraban appears to be mogging in the distance. The protagonist is actually well familiar with this spell, and suddenly, Hashiba's confidence cracked. He couldn't believe his eyes. The student had casted a version of his own fire attribute magic, a technique called the Crimson Blaze. Is it just me, or is this just Jogo versus Sukuna from the Shibuya arc? The two flame spells collide against each other in the old school beam clash, before detonating into a loud explosion, canceling the other out. Hashiba's trump card is negated, and it's a miracle to his eyes because he had just used the highest tier magic available in the fire attribute realm. But his assumption is actually wrong, as Kurabane puts it, in his eyes, that puny fireball is just an intermediate level magic. His patronizing tone pisses off the assassin. He's going absolutely ballistic and shouting at the boy. But Kurabane doesn't care, and calls out Hashiba for his mention of having killed 1,000 monsters. Flexing to the max, Bro humbles this guy by revealing that he's killed over 100,000 monsters, so this is like rookie numbers to his big leagues. Grabbing him by the throat, Kurabane engulfs Hashiba's body with the essence of dark magic. The assassin can feel its magnetic pull around him, as if it was draining his energy. Suddenly he loses control of his body, completely immobilizing him to the ground. Luna watches, feeling thrilled for her master to have accomplished his goal at last. But our boy's not done yet. He's got a couple of things to take care of. Grabbing Hashiba by the jaw, Kurabane demands to know about the identity of the man who sent the assassin. He already knows it was Shidu, and the instructor's lack of response is a good answer. The assassin panics, frantically revealing that he was just following instructions and doing his job to eliminate people getting close to gates. This confirms to Kurabane that Shidu's target isn't just him, but anyone who gets in the way of handling the gates, which 100% confirms that the Headmaster is on the side of the Demon King all along. The elephant in the room is why he would also foster students as talented young mages if he was really siding with the Demon King. So this theory isn't fully accurate either. But one thing is for certain, the Headmaster is playing some kind of critical role here. Kurabane turns attention to his victim, who is cowering in fear, while our boy reflects that not even confronting Shidu with this assassin will prove to be of any use in this situation. Instead, a while later, he just ties this dude up and puts him aside. At least with this move, the Headmaster will be much more cautious in his pursuits without making any hasty decisions next time. That's exactly what Kuraban is looking for, as he goes off, declaring that he'll expose the real mastermind puppeteering the battlefield. In the next scene, Shidu arrives at someone's estate. He bangs the door and finds his way upstairs, recalling how every time he comes here, it's always an eerie and uncomfortable environment. The headmaster knocks another door and is granted permission to enter inside. The first thing he does is bow down to his master, the real mastermind, someone who doesn't even look at this guy. The man simply demands to hear his report, to which Shidu ends up explaining everything in a positive light. But when he is confronted about any obstacles or changes in their plan, Shidu reveals his personal curiosity. He knows that a certain student has popped up in his academy with exceptional results that were never seen before. Then, this same kid happens to be capable of using all 4 distinguished elements of magic. Despite all those things, Shidu expresses absolute confidence, sharing how he's already sent an assassin to take care of the kid and eliminate him. His master gets up, invoking interest to hear more about that story. It's something that stands out to him, as if he didn't consider this development. After learning about the student's sudden rise to overwhelming power, he believes that the kid has every right to pose as an obstacle in their plans. But the headmaster is still too confident about the assassin he sent after the kid, assuring success with that mission. However, this guy's not so confident, because if that was the case, then the assassin would have already reported mission success status by now. This stuns Shidu, as he quickly grabs his phone, refusing to entertain the idea of a failure. The so-called assassin he sent after our boy is currently tied up and helpless. His phone rings in his pocket, but he can't even pick up the call. This is just one other convincing reason for Shidu to believe that the kid must have outplayed even the assassin. His boss considers this as mission failure right away. While Shidu garners frustration, he had a good impression of Kuraban Ren, but not this high. He's running out of options here, until his master recommends a perfectly plausible method. If they're dealing with an exceptionally talented mage, then all they have to do is force his friends to become bait for him. This kind of plan gets the scumbag headmaster really excited, because he can vaguely tell what his master is pointing at. Shidu catches a ring that his master throws at him, and though he thinks it's too early for this method, it's also true that they need data for the next stage of experimentation. The headmaster smirks a toothy grin, assuring mission success this time, as this is the very reason they even collected a crap ton of wizards in the first place. The leader is intrigued by the sudden development, and looks forward to more interesting twists. He's in such a positive mood that he wonders if it's time to open a real black gate into this world. And keep in mind, the highest difficulty known gate right now is red. The very next day following this discussion, our boy is called to the office room with another weird announcement. Bro is stunned to hear Shidu highlight his own mistake in assessing the student Kurabani's abilities, and even apologizes for all the rude behavior he imposed thus far. Shidu understands that his attitude shift may seem a little off, but it's strictly because he's now aware of the kid's true potential, which is why he wants to treat our boy with proper respect. Coming up close, the headmaster shares information about the recent influx and rise of gate occurrences. For that reason, he wants our boy to cooperate with the student president Izumiya to help seal off as many gates as possible. Scoping out his words, Kuraban understands that their role is to monitor the areas where gate frequency is high. The headmaster is ecstatic that the kid catches on quickly and offers him a handshake, acting like he genuinely believes in him. Now, Kuraban is going along with the act, but he's not your average dense manhwa protagonist. He knows this lying pig is plotting something underneath, which is why our boy's got a plan of his own. That handshake just now, Kurabani tampered with his dark magic for a little something extra. After the meeting, he tells his strategy to Izumiya. Earlier he laid a trap, and then he goes on to drop the bombshell of Hashiba's assassination attempt on him based on the headmaster's orders. It's unclear whether the headmaster has pieced this part out yet, but Kurabani can easily see through Shidu's real goals. That makes the student president wonder why he didn't just reject the guy's offer, because it doesn't make any sense. Unfortunately, Kuraban admits that they do need to take care of the gates, and that he's got a plan of his own to counteract things. The problem is, he's only thought of things for himself, so he's also planning on sealing the gates alone. Suddenly, Izumiya raises her voice, expressing her choice to attend too. She doesn't want to ignore reality just because it's dangerous, and wants to assist her friend whenever needed. Even Luna can see that this girl is stubbornly determined, so there's no point fighting her. Ultimately, our boy accepts and sets the evening hours for their mission. In the next scene, they're getting ready for the raid hunt. Walking around the area, they strangely don't sense any gate awakenings here. While they have free time, Kurabani directly asks her if she's afraid of the monsters lurking deep inside gates. Speaking the whole truth, even the student president admits that a part of her is terrified. But despite her fears, she has a duty to protect the innocent from the people who threaten them. That's the very reason she signed up to become a wizard in the first place. Her strong sense of justice is actually a clear reflection of the great wizard's past image. Those were the exact words this man spoke before his journey to kill the Demon King. Dropping the cool girl persona, Izumiya blushes and warmly tells Leon that she'll always have the strength to fight as long as she's standing by his side. Her Riz game is unfortunately cock-blocked by the appearance of a violent gate reaction. This kind of crackling dark energy stuns even our boy. Both of the mages are too startled to even react, as the gate uses dark vines to trap Izumiya, forcing her inside the gate. Our boy is helpless to save the damsel in distress in time, as the black gate swallows her inside. Its sudden appearance was unanticipated by Kuraban, who is terrified by the severe pressure just exuding off the gate. There's no time for him to be afraid as his friend is in deep danger. The one operating the whole situation is the Headmaster, who is watching the scene unfold on 8 different monitors. With this, he's created the perfect bait for Kuraban. The mastermind expected his plan to move swiftly to what he expected. The best thing about the Black Gate is that the creature inside is a beast of damning destruction, one who enjoys preying on mages with huge amounts of mana. This makes him wonder how the young boy will respond to such a terrifying gate. Kuraban is about to enter inside, but Luna comes around, begging him to reconsider his actions. This isn't a normal gate. It's far more dangerous than a red gate, and there's no telling what's lingering inside. Kuraban can already tell that the gate's appearance here of all places isn't a coincidence but a pre-planned situation. It's an event manipulated by the Headmaster, luring them here, so that he could trap both of them inside the gate and finish them together. The risks are definitely there. Even Kuraban admits that it's a dangerous gate, but he can't just ignore it either. Luna shouts at the incoming monsters scattering out of the gate. These are giant red dragons that are just going to terrorize the outside world even if he goes inside. Luckily, a yellow bolt comes to his rescue, striking down the 3 dragons with each shot of lightning arrows. The monsters collapse on the ground, astonishing our boy, as Naruse makes his appearance known. He asks immediate updates from Kuraban, who ends up explaining everything. Naruse is most shocked to hear about the student president being trapped inside the Black Gate. Unfortunately, more monsters are pouring out of the gate like wildfire, and they need to quickly take them down. Kuraban wants to help, but Naruse insists that he can handle this all alone, allowing Kuraban to get things done inside the gate. It's a harsh strategy, but it's the one they've got best, so Kuraban dashes ahead and aims to get inside the gate. It pisses off the vice president that he's not worthy of rescue Izumiya, but the reality is, even he understands that Kuraban is the only person who can save her. He leaves his hopes up to him, and stares down at the monsters, declaring himself as their opponent while he shoots down lightning arrows at the dragons. Finally, let's go inside the Black Gate to explore the environment. The easiest way to describe it is a ruined landscape, completely devoid of normal life. Here, Kuraban assigns his familiar a very important mission. Remember the lava dragon they faced in the Red Gate? Yeah, that boss monster is literally a mob monster at this gate. Still, Kuraban's not worried, as he throws open the doors of dark magic, manifesting the epic Calamity Scythe. The lava dragon attempts to slash him, but Kuraban is way faster and slaughters the beast's arm clean off its body. Then he goes on to cut off its limbs and head. Dealing with all of these dragons is going to take him a lot of time, and our boy doesn't want that. Instead, he emphasizes that they will all come to fear him and forcibly make way for him. Watching the events unfolding outside the gate, the Headmaster is just happy that Kuraban stupidly went inside instead of running away. He calls the boy an idiot for running right towards his own death. Speaking of the so-called idiotic boy, Kuraban has already cleared the first path and now approaches a narrow crack, the deepest part of this dungeon. By the way, facing off against a horde of lava dragons fatigued him quite a bit, but Kuraban's playing it chill. He's already faced a similar level of extreme difficulty enduring the depths of Hell Floor, so it's just a normal occurrence to him. Again, his reassurance helps Luna's confidence in him, because now their only mission is to save Izumiya and be done with this place. Speaking of her, she's currently cooped up with a whole bunch of tentacles around her body, making me wonder about the author's taste while writing this story. The boss monster is actually a one-eyed eldritch monstrosity, and it's holding Izumiya hostage, despite her relentless struggle to break free. Strangely, she finds her energy being zapped from her body, which only paints the picture of the kind of horror this monster would unleash if it escaped to the outside world. Thousands would die, while Izumiya is left wondering if her dear friend made it out safely. At the same time, she knows it's not the time to chicken out with his tail between his legs. Knowing that he won't give up, she musters some confidence to cast a fire spell. Izumiya's heroic act spectacularly fails because she's unable to cast magic at all, enlightening her that this monster is draining her mana out of her body. The monster opens its gigantic vacuum of a mouth, filled with endless spirals of teeth that are about to become Izumiya's demise. The student president braces for her ending, until she hears our boy zooming right in with his scythe, dicing off the creature's horny tentacles. The monster screams in agony, as Kuraban apologizes to her for arriving late. Her despair is now long gone, replaced with hope that her beloved protector has arrived. Cutting to the scheming headmaster, he proudly reports the situation of the gate and declares the end of Kuraban. His master wants these two powerful wizards to become food for his abomination. Kuraban faces his most powerful gate monster to date, while his wannabe girlfriend is out here cooped up in tentacles being way too chill for the situation she's in. Luna warns him to be wary of the mana-draining tentacles. It's an unusual kind of monster, unlike anything he's fought in this world or the last. Still, even if he's facing weird-looking shit, these hands are rated E for everyone and don't discriminate. The creature spams a tentacle at him, forcing our boy to evade. But while he's midair, he notices the huge crater left by even a single attack. This means getting hit even once guarantees Kuraban's death, so his best bet is to spam attacks on its main body fast. Activating Dark Attribute magic, he challenges the giant monster with dozens of large spikes of his own. Deadly Claw is added again, and though Luna thinks this is enough to kill the boss, Kuraban sees this as a futile effort. The main body of the creature is still unharmed. Pulsing with raging ferocity, the monster screams and digs its tentacles deep into the ground. This is a strange occurrence. Not even Kuraban can predict the upcoming attack, not until Luna informs her master about the tentacle popping up from behind. Thanks to her warning, he evades, even getting grazed from the impact. Luckily, it wasn't an actual hit, or else he would be cooked by now. Still, despite his hacks of dark magic, Kuraban is finding it a pain to deal with this unique kind of monster and can't figure out its attack patterns. The creature plunges out another tentacle to flank him from behind, forcing Kuraban to use his scythe and slash it off. More and more tentacles erupt from the side, spamming him from every direction, but he's out here cutting them like sushi. The messenger of the goddess is saddened. She's only seen this man fight non-stop ever since he stepped foot inside the Black Gate, which means his mana must be at his very limit. From the way Izumiya is currently getting the Diddy treatment, she can't survive much longer. The issue with Kuraban directly confronting the creature's main body is that he's also at risk of being swarmed by the tentacles, which would spell his doom. Deciding to go fuck it we ball, this man tosses away his scythe, glaring at the monster with fierce determination. He launches with insane speed to draw closer to the creature's main body. Izumiya helplessly and worriedly watches him. As predicted, the monster swarms him with numerous tentacle strikes. Countering them, he uses the spell Grim Eater from both hands to cast dimensional cracks that swallow all incoming tentacles. Then he runs up towards the main body using the same tentacles, forcing the monster to cover its main body to play defense. Kuraban's not going to let his only chance be screwed like that, so he taps into dark magic again, casting a dozen portals and firing off energy blasts, the spell known as Blind Edge. This cuts away all the defenses, leaving the main body completely vulnerable to attacks. Kuraban jumps up to confront its enormous eye, declaring the end of it all. As his final attack, he gathers every last bit of mana for the ultimate spell Lost Force, punching the monster's eye with a demolishing finish. This deals enough damage for the boss to erupt in pain, its tentacles purge into non-existence, even freeing Izumiya from their grasp. The fight is over as the student president falls from the sky. Her knight in shining armor rescues her safely. Kuraban checks on her condition, and though she can barely speak, she warmly smiles at him like she is about to become this man's wife. And now for the best part. The headmaster suddenly realizes that his ultimate master plan, the Black Gate itself, is now disappearing on its own. This is an unexpected change. There's no way Kuraban could have pulled off something of this caliber. No flipping way he could have actually defeated the Gatemaster of the Black Gate. Shidu checks on the ring, knowing he must still have it. He quickly grabs it and wears it, having gathered all of the Infinity Stones required to wipe out exactly half the universe. Wait, shit, wrong story. But before this wannabe Thanos can do anything, our boy knocks on the door instead. Storming in as the embodiment of darkness, Kuraban calls out the headmaster for making a career-ending mistake by dragging Izumiya into their mess. He stands before the baffled headmaster, who questions how he even got here, as Kurabani positions himself as the eradicator of scum like him. Shidu asks what Kurabani is doing over there, and our boy confesses that he actually uses a certain spell to place a mark on his body, which then allows him to teleport straight to the secret base. This irritates the principal because he suddenly remembers that the earlier shadowy figure on Kurabani's body could be the mark he is talking about, and deep down the Shidu feels uneasy because he has never heard of that kind of magic before. He brushes it off and assumes Kuraban is just some bratty teenager acting bold, but that thought shatters almost instantly. In the next moment, Kurabane takes control of the conversation and becomes the dominant one, asking the principal directly if he is the one who summoned the gate. He also tells him that lying is pointless because he can already see all the equipment hidden behind him, and that the only smart choice left is to tell the truth. Kuraban then accuses him of creating a training center for young wizards, and asks why he would do that if his motives were always dark and twisted. The principal pauses for a moment, then with a sinister look on his face, he finally confesses that his goal was to create food. Kuraban is confused at first as the Shidu explains that he wants to fill the bellies of the monsters beyond the gate, and that all those victims, all those poor students, are cultivated for that purpose alone. That is why he admits without hesitation that he is the one who opened the gate. He takes advantage of the chaos and gains both power and authority by kneeling before the monsters. Kuraban listens to everything, but he cannot forget that in his master's cruel plan, the man even tries to sacrifice innocent Izumiya. He sees the Shidu as absolute scum who crawl across the earth, and what angers him more is that the man feels no regret at all. He is smug and proud of what he has done. Shidu then summons his fire element and says that he does not care what kind of insult Kuraban throws at him, because in the end, the teenager is going to die. With that confidence, the villain hurls fireballs toward Kuraban, certain that this will end the fight, but Kuraban is far more powerful than the principal realizes. With a single flick of his hand, he creates a shield and wipes out every fireball in one clean motion. Shidu is confused because the magic does not even come close to Kuraban, and instead vanishes completely before reaching him. Then he realizes that Kuraban is provoking him, openly telling him to come at him properly this time and show his real strength. The principal grows furious and thinks he needs to show this teenager what punishment truly looks like, and when he notices Kuraban's rough and battered appearance, he convinces himself that Kuraban is already beaten and that he now has the upper hand. He gathers his fire element once again and charges up another attack, threatening that this time it will erase Kuraban completely. But none of that happens, because just as the fireballs are about to strike, Kuraban uses his dark attribute magic, Denial Mirror, and creates a force field around himself. The fireballs bounce back through the barrier and rush straight toward Shidu, leaving him no time to escape as his own attack crashes into him. He screams in agony and collapses to the ground, coughing up thick smoke as his body trembles. He cannot believe that a student he once saw as incompetent can defeat him so easily. But when he looks up and sees the aura pouring out of Kuraban, he finally understands that he is not facing an ordinary person. The principal forces himself to stand and realizes he has no choice left but to summon a gate right there if he wants any chance of winning. He slams his palm down to activate the magic, but before he can finish, something pierces straight through his hand, and he screams in pain. Kuraban walks toward him and calmly says that he knows the truth, that by wearing all those rings the principal can materialize a gate. Shidu stumbles backward and desperately begs for forgiveness, but before the words fully leave his filthy mouth, Kuraban punches him hard and smashes his jaw, sending him crashing to the ground. Kuraban lifts him up and tells him that he is going to make sure he spits out the truth. He demands to know who he works for and where they are right now, but before he can ask anything more, a black shadow suddenly pours out of the principal's mouth. He goes silent and drops lifelessly to the floor. Kuraban realizes that he has lost his chance to extract answers, but elsewhere, inside a vast and lonely room, a blond man calmly reflects on how he has lost one of his pawns. He knows Kuraban may have won this small battle, but as Prince Shark rises and looks up at the moon, he understands that the war is right at the edge and far from over. The next day, Kuraban meets Izumiya on the rooftop as he stares at the flag he despises so deeply. He explains what happened with Shidu and how, when the man wakes up after the attack, he has lost all his memories. The authorities still take him into custody, but the truth remains unchanged. Gates continue to appear in other places, which means Shidu was never the only one behind the conspiracy. This matches the exact theory Kuraban already believes in, and there is no doubt in his mind that Shark is involved somehow. A quiet voice echoes in his thoughts, warning him not to lower his guard because the war is drawing closer. Kuraban already knows this, and in silence he challenges Shark to bring his worst, because no matter what happens, he will find him and destroy him. A little while later, Kuraban is trying to get some sleep when memories from his past life come rushing back. He remembers defeating the Leon King and then returning to his orphanage as a victorious hero, promising the little boys and girls that he would teach them magic. He remembers how pleased he once was to work alongside Prince Shark, and how all of it ended in a brutal and deadly betrayal that led to the deaths of everyone he loved. The nightmare becomes too much for him to bear, and he jolts awake in panic. As he catches his breath, he notices the sunlight pouring in through the window, and realizes that it is already morning. He knows Shidu is now dismissed after everything that happened, but he also knows the man was never acting alone. A deep sense of unease settles in his chest as he looks at the flag standing on top of the school, because he feels that Shark is still out there somewhere nearby. Kuraban believes Shark is waiting for him to make a move, and he quietly promises himself that when that moment comes, he will take his revenge no matter the cost. Later that day, everyone notices when a man wearing a bright red suit with striking blonde hair walks down the hallway. He is introduced as their new headmaster, and Kuraban recalls hearing that they would be getting one soon, though he never expected it to happen this quickly. Izumiya tells Kuraban that the new headmaster has requested a private meeting with him, and Kuraban immediately agrees, since he genuinely wants to know what kind of person this man is. He asks Izumiya if she and the new headmaster are already close. Izumiya explains that her family is quite wealthy and holds a high status, and that they know each other well. She says he is basically her uncle, someone who has looked after her since she was a child. He is Genis Coleman, an instructor for an organization that gathers only the best wizards from across the entire world. Kuraban understands what that implies and realizes the man must be extremely skilled. Izumiya adds that Genis has an impressive record of closing so many gates that they have lost count. Luna nudges Kuraban mentally and suggests that they should definitely meet him and judge his true personality in person. Kuraban agrees, thinking it is a good chance to connect with a powerful wizard, and he decides not to judge Genis based on rumors. He wants to make up his mind only after meeting him face to face. Kuraban and Izumiya head together to the principal's office, where Genis greets them both with genuine warmth. He already knows exactly who Kurabane is, and seeing Genis's bright smile makes Kurabane feel as if the room is filled with sunshine and ease. Still, Kuraban feels a little nervous because of the man's overwhelming enthusiasm, and even Luna seems caught off guard by it. Kuraban quietly asks Izumiya if Genis is always this energetic, and she sighs and admits that he is, though she adds that his optimism tends to rub off on people. Genis explains that he comes from Saber, an organization and institution that unites wizards from all over the world. He says that Saber is not just about training, they are also responsible for managing the gates that appear across the globe. In simple terms, they protect humanity from the disasters that spill out of those gates. After graduating, students can join the Wizards Association, but entering Saber requires becoming elite among the elite. From this, Kuraban understands that Genis is not just skilled, but a top-tier wizard with a high position even within Saber. As Genis continues talking, his tone grows a little boastful, which makes both Kurabane and Izumiya feel slightly embarrassed. Sensing the moment, Izumiya gently steers the conversation back on track and asks Genis what he wanted to discuss so urgently with Kurabane. Genis grows more serious and explains that Kurabane already knows the world is under constant threat from gates reopening. He admits that Saber is stretched thin and lacks enough manpower, which is why they have not been able to station someone permanently in this region. Until now, that strategy worked because no major incidents occurred here, and whenever gates did appear, they usually closed on their own. However, the situation has changed in the last few days with the emergence of the Black Gate. Genis says that even Saber cannot afford to ignore it anymore, which is why he has been sent here. According to Saber's higher authorities, the danger level of the Black Gate surpasses even red category threats. If the monsters trapped inside were to break free, hundreds or even thousands of innocent lives could be lost in an instant. Genis explains that this is exactly why they need to stay alert and watch closely for the appearance of any new gates. However, Saber does not have enough people to cover everything, and that is where Kurabane comes in. To deal with the growing chaos, Genis asks for help from both Kuraban and Izumiya. He believes they have the skills needed to confront the Black Gate. Both Kuraban and Izumiya are clearly shocked to hear someone of Genis's rank speak about them with such confidence. Genis then reveals that he has received reports showing that they were also involved in closing a gate before. Further investigation proves that even top members of Saber struggled to handle the Black Gate. Because of their experience, he wants them to stay on guard and use their exceptional abilities. He places special emphasis on Kurabane's overwhelming power and says it is vital for defending the world from this threat. Kuraban immediately extends his hand and agrees, saying he would never turn down a chance to protect the world. Izumiya tries to step in and clarify that the one who truly conquered the Black Gate was someone else, but before she can finish, an urgent warning sounds. A report comes in announcing that a Category Red Gate has appeared near the school. Izumiya turns to Genis and asks what his plan is. Genis answers calmly and says this is the perfect opportunity to test both of their abilities. Izumiya once again cautions him not to take the situation lightly, clearly worried about the danger. Before she can say more, Kuraban cuts in and confidently says that they are ready for the challenge. With that, they accept the mission and prepare to leave, telling Genis that they will meet him and his team outside the gate. Before long, Kurabane and Izumiya arrive at the location of the gate, its presence heavy and unsettling in the air. Just as they prepare to move forward, someone suddenly calls out and says he will be joining them as well. Naruse steps forward and adjusts his glasses, smiling as he remarks that more people make a fight easier and more fun. Kuraban considers it for a moment and agrees that having extra help is a smart move. With their team now complete, they step toward the gate together. Each of them carries their own resolve and confidence, determined to conquer what lies ahead. They are ready to prove their strength and show everyone exactly what kind of powerful wizards they truly are. Luna feels quietly happy that Kuraban is finally clearing a gate with more than one person by his side. At the same time, Kuraban remembers what the Headmaster told him earlier, that he wanted to see their strength as they conquer this gate together. It reminds him of his old world, where he learned that trust in a group is what truly makes people want to fight alongside him. That same trust is something he now clearly sees in both Izumiya and Naruse. Because of that, he understands once again why teamwork matters so much. With their resolve aligned, all three of them charge straight into the gate. They rush toward the center and soon spot several different kinds of monsters already searching for them. Kuraban tells everyone to do their best and stay focused. Izumiya immediately steps forward and declares that she will make the first move by taking down the wolf-type monster. She summons her icicle lance and fires sharp ice spears straight at it, piercing its body. However, one wolf breaks through her attack and lunges toward her. At the very last second, Kuraban reacts and uses his dark attribute magic to slash the creature cleanly in half. While dealing with that threat, Kuraban does not notice the stone golem slowly closing in behind him. The moment he realizes it, he shouts for Naruse to use his magic. Right on cue, Naruse releases a lightning shot aimed directly at the golem's eyes, damaging it enough to stop its attack and protect Kuraban. Luna then urgently pulls Kuraban's attention toward a swarm of bats rushing toward him from above. Kuraban calmly tells him not to worry. Once again, he unleashes his dark attribute magic, Raging Blast, and creates a powerful echo wave that sends the bats flying back before they crash to the ground, lifeless. Luna feels relieved and pleased as Kuraban finally exhales and lowers his guard. After the battle settles and the area grows quiet, Izumiya apologizes and says she became a liability and that the others had to watch out for her. Naruse also apologizes, admitting that his reaction was slower than it should have been. Kuraban immediately reassures them both and tells them they did well, especially since it was their first time facing so many monsters at once. Izumiya and Naruse feel slightly better, but curiosity quickly replaces their relief. Naruse asks what kind of magic Kuraban was using, because it was incredibly powerful and unlike anything he has ever seen before. He even asks if Izumiya already knew about it, but she admits that she does not, even though she has seen Kuraban use it several times. Kuraban realizes that if he wants to earn their full trust, he needs to be honest. He tells them the truth and explains that he uses dark attribute magic. He avoids going into deep detail, since they are still inside the gate and danger has not fully passed. He simply explains that it is a type of magic with properties and effects that none of the four known attributes possess. Naruse asks if Kuraban used it during the mock battle or if he was hiding it. Kuraban replies that he cannot freely use it in front of many people because he does not want his secret to spread. He then reminds them that their main focus right now is defeating the boss of this gate, and with that, they move forward and continue their journey. As they walk, Izumiya quietly reflects on what she witnessed. From Kuraban's power, control, and precision, she can tell that he has trained relentlessly to reach this level. She wonders if there is a deeper reason why he pushes himself so hard. The thought lingers in her mind, and even though she feels shy admitting it, her curiosity about him continues to grow. Not long after, the three of them finally arrive and stand face to face with the boss monster waiting ahead. The creature waiting for them is a crystal dragon. In Kuraban's old world, it had a tough exterior, making it a real pain to fight. Kuraban marches forward confidently, telling Izumiya and Naruse that he will handle the front and that they need to cover his back. He instructs them to aim for its legs from behind. Both of his teammates immediately understand his plan, and they watch as Kuraban dashes straight toward the ice dragon without hesitation. Working together seamlessly, Izumiya and Naruse use their magic to freeze the dragon's feet to the ground, holding it in place. Kuraban leaps into the air using his dark attribute magic and strikes the dragon with precision, delivering a powerful slash that cuts the dragon cleanly in half. Naruse and Izumiya stare in disbelief as the dragon shatters like hardened crystal, a spectacle of power they have never witnessed before. The display of Kuraban's dark attribute magic leaves them completely amazed. Soon the trio emerges outside the gate, where the principal is already waiting, surprised to see them return so quickly. The team has exceeded all his expectations, and his happiness is clear. Kuraban notices that the principal had also dealt with monsters lurking outside, and the principal laughs, saying that it was fairly easy to handle. He then looks at Naruse, noting that he has joined their team, and Kuraban confirms that they have defeated the boss and successfully closed the gate. The principal admits that they were so powerful that he almost forgot they were students for a moment. Kuraban then steps forward with a proposal, explaining that as dealing with gates becomes even more important in the future, the three of them have decided to form a clan. Since they are still students, he asks for the principal's permission to officially establish the clan and gain the rights to close gates. The headmaster has never received a request like this before, and he looks at Kuraban curiously as he explains. Saber is currently short on personnel, he says, and he believes that with their combined power, the three of them can work together effectively. Genis considers the idea for a moment. He knows there is no precedent for students forming a clan to close gates, but seeing the three of them, he feels they might just have enough strength to pull it off. After a few moments of thought, he finally agrees to allow them to form their clan. He also assures them that they do not have to worry about attending their regular classes, because with his authority, he will convert all their clan achievements into grades. Kuraban feels a surge of happiness at the result, glancing at Izumiya and Naruse to see that they share the same joy. For him, it feels like their plan is finally coming to life. Soon, they move into their new meeting room, and Kurabani places a tablet on the table. The screen lights up with a map filled with colorful markers. He explains that it shows the locations of previously opened gates and the times when he closed them. He wants to know if they can detect any pattern. Both Izumiya and Naruse are stunned, mostly focused on the fact that Kurabani handled such an enormous number of gates all by himself. Izumiya recalls hearing stories a few days ago about gates appearing at random places, only to close quickly without explanation. Now she realizes that Kurabani was behind it all. Naruse swallows in respect and admits that what Kurabani accomplished is both impressive and reckless. Luna agrees silently. Izumiya reminds Kurabani that now that they are part of the same clan, they should work together, and he should avoid making any more risky solo moves. Kuraban acknowledges his mistake and promises to work as a team from now on. Luna smiles, pleased to see Kuraban finally interacting and socializing well in this world. Naruse then raises a new concern. If so many gates are appearing, monsters may not be their only threat. The magic essence flowing from the gates could be just as dangerous. Kuraban ponders this seriously. Luna had warned him when he first arrived in this world that magic essence, while helpful in awakening some people's powers, is toxic to ordinary humans and can spread like a deadly plague. Izumiya points out that if large amounts of magic essence overflow, the casualties could be massive. Kuraban agrees and decides that they must conduct patrols to prevent such disasters. Their goal now is to stop problems at the source. That night, they gear up and begin patrolling. Izumiya notices Saber soldiers are also present, and Kurabani realizes the situation is serious if even elite members are on the ground level. Suddenly, Kuraban stops, spotting a newly opened gate, leaving his teammates momentarily confused. A Saber soldier receives a notification and confirms that a new gate has appeared 5 kilometers southwest. Without hesitation, everyone rushes toward the incident. They arrive to find the city in chaos. A red gate has appeared in the middle of the road, and people are running for their lives. A woman sprints with her child who trips and falls. Before the child can get up, a wolf lunges at them. The child is defenseless, but at the last second, Kurabani leaps in and kills the wolf with his deadly claw, saving the girl. The mother is grateful, but Kurabani focuses only on checking that both she and her child are safe. He notices Saber soldiers in the area and quickly decides to leave the outside threats to them, while he and his team enter the gate. As he issues orders, he does not notice the girl he just saved watching him with admiration, seeing him as a role model. Soon, Kuraban notices some chatter among the soldiers and walks up to them, introducing himself and his team as students from the Sacred Imperial Academy. The headmaster has given them permission to form a clan and enter the gate. The soldier recognizes them from the rumors, and also knows that the headmaster gave a heads up that they would appear. Kuraban notices the tension and asks if something has happened. The soldier explains that a clearing team went inside the gate but has now lost contact. They do not know if the team is safe. The communicator is not working, but it is not broken, which can only mean that something inside the gate has disrupted the signal. Naruse asks if they are going to rescue them, but the soldier replies that they are busy dealing with the monsters outside and protecting the city. Their top priority is evacuating the citizens, and they hope their comrades inside are fighting with the same resolve. They cannot do anything more at the moment. Kuraban and his team realize that rescuing them is now their mission too. He decides they will leave the outside to the soldiers and head inside the gate themselves. The soldier warns them that it is extremely dangerous, but just then the headmaster appears, saying they have nothing to worry about. He explains that they are talented youths and excellent wizards, armed not only with power but also with resolve and a sense of duty. Soon, all three of them step inside the gate. Izumiya notices the thick fog making it hard to see, but it does not matter. They are here for one reason: to eliminate the monsters and protect everyone else. Kuraban announces that this is their first time conquering a gate as a clan, and they are going to give it everything they have. As all three of them run through the foggy gate, they notice the dead monsters scattered across the path. They realize that these must be the ones defeated by the previous team, which reassures them that they are heading in the right direction. Naruse reflects on the fact that this is a situation even Saber's elite could not handle easily. They lack experience, and he hopes everyone is still safe. Kuraban reminds them that the boss monster is probably even more powerful, but they cannot let that shake their confidence. Their priority now is to rescue everyone who has gone missing. Izumiya is determined, believing that with Kurabani's dark attribute magic, they should have no problems. She is confident that as soon as Kurabani is there, everyone can be saved. Then she corrects herself, realizing that if Kurabani were to fight alone, there would be no need for a clan. She decides she will not act under him, but as his teammate. Naruse shares the same determination, promising himself that he will not be a liability for Kurabane or Izumiya, and that he will show his strength. Meanwhile, Saber soldiers are struggling against a massive slime monster. They attack with fireballs, but every time, the slime forms a protective barrier around itself. The soldiers are injured and frustrated. One wounded boy lying on the ground begs his comrades to leave him and retreat to safety. The soldier beside him shouts for him not to be foolish, but the distraction allows the slime to strike. The soldiers scramble to raise their defense walls, but they are too late. The slime attacks them one by one, knocking them to the ground. The injured soldier blames himself for being a liability. He braces for death as the slime turns toward him. At the last moment, a purple fireball erupts from above, and he scrambles to his feet, looking up at Kurabani. He asks who he is, but Kurabani does not answer, only confirming silently that they must be Saber's soldiers. The soldier notices their uniforms and hesitantly asks if they are actually students. Again, Kurabane remains silent. Izumiya spots the slime's weakness in its core and urges Naruse to attack with her. She charges forward, not realizing that the fallen slime has begun to move. Kurabane tries to warn her, but it is too late. The slime lands on her head, pinning her to the ground. Naruse rushes to help her, but he too becomes stuck. The slime prepares to strike both of them, but Kurabani intervenes at the last second. He unleashes his dark attribute magic, firing a massive evil burst that destroys the slime's attack and protects his teammates. The slime evaporates into the air as everyone watches, stunned by Kurabane's power and his determination to defend his friends. Rising into the air once more, he focuses his magic and annihilates the monster completely, splitting it in two. The soldiers watch in awe, and once the fight is over, they rejoice in their victory, witnessing firsthand the wrath and power of Kurabane and his unwavering resolve to protect his clan. After they exit the gate, the soldiers personally thank the students for everything they have done. Kurabane humbly replies that they were just doing their duty. The headmaster laughs and says that this is exactly what he had expected. Their powers are exactly as he described to his fellow soldiers. He had always thought the three of them were already exceptional wizards. Even the soldier agrees and admits he feels ashamed for underestimating them because of their student status. He asks all the soldiers to salute them, and they do so without hesitation. Kurabane and his teammates feel deeply touched by the gesture, a swell of pride rising within them. When Kurabane returns, Luna greets him with a bright, beaming smile, proud of his achievement. Kurabane reminds her that keeping Saber's people safe is just as important, and Luna agrees. She also praises him for being invited to join Saber after graduation, which makes him feel a rare sense of bliss. Just then, a knock sounds at the door. Kurabane goes to open it and finds Izumiya standing there. She apologizes for disturbing him so late. Kurabane asks if everything is okay, and Izumiya, with a shy glance, asks if she can have a moment of private time with him. Izumiya sits on Kurabane's bed, and he can hardly believe that she is asking him to teach her magic. She confesses that she has felt powerless being the way she is, and she has wanted his help for a long time. Kurabane thinks for a moment, remembering how she must have felt after the battle earlier, when the slime monster had caught her so easily. What happened was unavoidable, but she does not need comfort. She is not that kind of girl. What she needs is to know how to improve. Kurabane agrees and tells her that he can teach her to fight. Izumiya beams with happiness, and Kurabani thinks to himself that she is exactly the same, always straightforward and simple. They move to the rooftop, and Kurabane says they should start immediately. Just then, someone interrupts them. Naruse cannot believe that they were once again planning to train separately. He asks if he can join, and Izumiya shyly asks if he really wants to be taught by Kurabane too. Naruse insists he does and complains that it is unfair that Izumiya got a head start earlier. The two of them start bickering, and Kurabani notices that Naruse is just as eager to learn as Izumiya. Luna comments that Naruse wears his heart on his sleeve, observing their dynamic. Naruse clears his throat and reminds them that, as a clan, they need to work together and cannot fall behind Kurabane. Kurabane agrees and says they will do this as a team, but he believes they already have a solid grasp of their magic. They know the basics and even advanced techniques, but they need to correct their habits. Kurabane gives an example in battle. Izumiya tends to charge ahead without thinking, and she realizes that he is right. He explains that when she hyper-focuses, she creates blind spots. Naruse, on the other hand, tends not to make predictions ahead of time. He asks what Kurabani means by that. Kurabane explains that the most important thing in battle is to prepare for the worst. For instance, when Izumiya faced the slime monster earlier, he should have predicted the monster would attack her when he charged to help, but he did not. Naruse realizes his mistake and admits he was flustered. Kuraban tells them that these are not mock school battles. Real combat has many variables, and they must adapt. Their first exercise is to widen their field of vision and get used to real combat. Kuraban summons a wolf using his shadow magic, identical to the one they fought before. He instructs them to dodge its attacks while firing their magic. Both agree, and the wolf charges at them. They fight, using all their skills. After some time, Naruse asks for a short break. Kuraban hands him a water bottle and notices that Izumiya is still going without resting. He comments on how hard both of them are working, impressed by their dedication. Naruse agrees, but the truth is that Izumiya has held back because of her position as well. Kuraban is confused as Naruse explains that Izumiya comes from a prestigious family that has produced many outstanding wizards. Her family fights on the front lines at the gates, often taking the vanguard in battle. Her strong sense of responsibility comes from them, and she wants to fight the monsters threatening the world and become one of the best. As Naruse talks, Kuraban realizes that her determination stems from a desire to protect others and live up to her family, carrying the burden to be just, even if she cannot surpass them. Naruse says that because of that, supporting her has not been easy, and he wants to become stronger so he can stand by her side. He apologizes for what happened in the previous battle because he has no intention of losing again. Kuraban smiles, seeing his fiery spirit, and the three of them continue training while their master watches with pride. Exactly 1 month later, all three charge into another battle. A giant is about to strike Kuraban. He instructs his teammates to focus on the main body. Izumiya and Naruse work together while Kurabane cuts off the giant's hands. The giant regenerates them, but he does not notice that Izumiya and Naruse are already in the air, preparing their next attack. Naruse fires a lightning shot, and Izumiya strikes with a precise blow. The combined attack creates a hole in the giant's chest, and it collapses dead to the ground. The trio fist bumps, celebrating their victory. Unbeknownst to them, a blonde man watches from another location on his TV screen. He observes these young wizards closing gate after gate, and thinks that the world always calls for a savior in every era. He feels a sense of frustration that the experiment in front of him is nearing its end, but he eagerly anticipates meeting Kurabani one-on-one. At the school, everyone is buzzing about the newspaper featuring the students who are conquering gates. They talk about how the president and vice president have formed a clan, and rumors say that even Saber's evaluation of them is high, showing they are recognized by this elite group of magicians. A red-haired boy discusses it and realizes how impressive it is that Kurabani is part of the team. The brunette reminds him that Kuraban had defeated him in the mock battle, and the boy gets a little nervous and embarrassed, thinking back to when he had no idea how strong Kuraban really was. The brunette then adds that both the president and vice president are being trained by Kurabane, and the boy starts gossiping about how Kuraban has become a prodigy in the school. Everyone turns to notice the clan walking into the cafeteria. Izumiya sees all the eyes on them and comments on how much attention they are attracting. Naruse is happy about it, knowing it shows how far their achievements have spread. Two girls approach them and one thanks Kurabani directly. He is confused at first, but the girl explains that her family lives near the area where the gate appeared, and they owe their safety to Kurabane. She wanted to thank him in person. Seeing her gratitude reminds Kurabani of his old world, where people were just as thankful for his help. He had saved countless villages, empires, and children, and even now, that same warm feeling fills his heart, making him smile. The two gossiping boys notice this and realize Kurabani is now a hero, someone even the lowest-ranked students in the school respect. Nearby, the bully who used to torment Kurobane listens and feels unhappy. Later, they reach their destination, and Naruse is happy that they have arrived safely. Izumiya teases him, suggesting he might be jealous that Kuraban is getting so much attention. Kuraban shifts the conversation back to a serious note, asking Izumiya if the headmaster has actually called for them. Izumiya admits she does not know what he wants to talk about, but says they should still go, adding that even Luna is unaware. When they arrive at the headmaster's office, he greets them warmly, congratulating them on their accomplishments. He expresses pride in both Izumiya and Naruse, noting how much they have grown. They both show gratitude, and Izumiya asks what he wants to discuss. The headmaster opens his car keys and tells them they will be visiting Saber's branch. In the car, he explains that the vice branch chief wants to meet them. Kuraban asks if Naruse has met him before. Naruse says he has. The chief, Nihama Rei, is a promising young wizard compared to Saber's elite. He was the first student council president of the school, and already skilled in mock battles. After joining Saber, he closed a huge number of gates. Izumiya is confused about why someone like him would summon them. The headmaster says it is something they need to look forward to. Kuraban senses there is a reason and is curious. They arrive at Saber's 7th branch. The headmaster leads them to a room where Reiji waits, sitting on a sofa. He greets them, not warmly, but as if he already knows who they are. Reiji has been excited and curious to meet them in person. He He mentions he heard about their clan and how they have closed and sealed gates. Feeling compelled, he decided to meet them. Reiji goes straight to Kuraban and asks if he is happy to meet someone like him. Luna notes that Reiji seems arrogant, and Kurabani agrees. Reiji raises his hand for a handshake and Kurabani accepts. Kuraban notices a wolf charging behind Reiji's face, but no one else seems to see it, and he himself does not understand what it was. Izumiya notices Reiji's slightly flustered expression and asks what is wrong. Reiji admits that Kuraban actually noticed something no one else did. He tells Kuraban to calm down, explaining that he had just released some of his killing intent to test him. He was planning to just greet them and let them have a day off, but now he has changed his mind. He announces that they are going to duel and that he is going to face Kuraban in a fight. At the branch indoor training ground, Kurabani and Reiji face each other. Reiji comments that it feels dull without much of an audience, but it will have to do for now. That way, Kurabani can use more of his powers without anyone watching. Kuraban realizes Reiji is right, but he is determined. Earlier, in their office, Kurabani had asked if Reiji was really serious about a mock battle with the vice branch chief. Reiji revealed that he is a battle maniac and just wants to fight. From what he observed, Kurabane has a lot of potential, and he even noticed the killing intent Kurabane had unleashed earlier. Reiji feels Kurabane has the skill to match him. Now, they stand at the training ground, ready to face off. Saber gathers only the elite wizards, and Reiji stands among the very top. He is curious about Kurabane's abilities, but more importantly, he needs to understand the strange feeling of intimidation he sensed earlier. The headmaster feels nervous because Reiji is always intense, but he sees the silver lining. He wants to gauge Kurabane's skills and see what he can manage in an actual fight. He believes in Kuraban, but he also knows the vice branch chief is a real pro, so it will be difficult. Izumiya, however, has no doubt. If anyone challenges Kuraban, she knows they are going to lose. Reiji lights a fireball, saying he will start with a test. He throws it at Kuraban, who notices it is vinegar fire attribute magic. It should be easier to intercept, but Reiji is not making it simple. The fireball splits as it travels, landing on the ground and exploding. Kuraban dodges easily by flying into the air. Reiji is confused because he did not realize Kuraban had used a counterattack. Kuraban intentionally created a barrier of ice to deflect the fire and used the explosion as a smokescreen. Kuraban grins, thinking this is going to be fun. Izumiya marvels at Kuraban's reaction time but wants to understand the fireball better. The headmaster explains that it is Kurabani's sent-out magic power splitting after launch, a difficult skill requiring precise control. Naruse suddenly realizes Kuraban used the same technique in the mock battle and feels a twinge of jealousy, seeing the difference in their levels. Reiji announces it is time for the final battle. He summons a storm cyclone rushing toward Kurabani. The firepower surpasses anything Kurabani faced in his old world. He knows he must escape, using high agility to bounce off the window and fly into the air, preparing to attack from a position of strength. Kuraban uses water attribute magic to strike, but Reiji dodges at the last moment. He does not want Kurabani to dodge freely mid-air, so he gathers stones around him and charges. Kuraban realizes Reiji is using earth magic to rush forward and uses a lightning spear to defend himself. The two clash, swords meeting in a one-on-one duel. Reiji applauds Kurabani for his performance so far, but he knows Kurabani still has a hidden card. Reiji wants to see the mysterious magic Kuraban is using and refuses to let him fight without revealing it. Kuraban realizes Reiji is practically daring him to show his full power. With a confident smirk, Kuraban ignites his shadowy dark attribute magic, unleashing his true strength.